I'll take your questions. I've been given a list of people to call on here.
Stop! He's already dead.
Give me some popcorn so I can sit back and relax, because the Democrats, of course, are tearing each other apart over Joe Biden's candidacy. You have many who are trying to cope, many who are trying to get him to drop out, and of course you have Joe Biden himself clinging to power because he really wants to stay in that White House, or at least Jill does, okay? So over here, of course, we can see that Joe Biden just had his big press conference, and guess what? He is determined to keep on running, and some new polls, right? He just had his presser, and all of a sudden, he's got a magic new poll from NPR that shows he's actually leading Donald Trump in the general by 2 points, okay? Despite the fact that every other poll conducted over the last several weeks and months is showing an exact move in the opposite direction. So was this all orchestrated to help Joe Biden stay in the race? Of course not. The media and the White House have never worked together hand in hand before. But either way, many people are actually worried. I want to get some reaction to this, but before we get to the clips, please like and comment so we can break through the algorithms. Here we go.
President Joe Biden had his, what everyone seems to be referring to in his cabinet, big boy press conference today at NATO. And the point was, okay, there's no prompter. There's not supposed to be a script. He's supposed to alleviate some of the concerns that Democratic voters have and members of Congress have about his cognitive decline, his mental decline. And so let's see how it went. It didn't start off so well. First, he introduced Kamala Harris in a way that wasn't accurate, so you should see for yourselves.
I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, that I think she was not qualified to be president.
This happened on the same day that he introduced Volodymyr Zelensky, the leader of Ukraine, as Putin. But there's more. Let's go to the next video where, well, actually, Cenk, why don't you weigh in on this?
So Zelensky's Putin, Kamala Harris is Trump, and this is the press conference where he's supposed to prove to us how great he is. But keep in mind, it's not like the Democrats have lowered the bar so they think, well, if he doesn't die during the press conference, then he should go on. No. Well, if he doesn't fall apart at the seams, he should go on. No. He has to make up a giant deficit. He's losing in every swing state. Right now, a combination of polls has him down by 3 nationally. He has to win by 5, so he's down by 8 in effect. He's at 37% approval rating. And he was at 52 when he won. He's got 15 points to make up at least. This, hey, he didn't get every single answer wrong, is not the win you think it is, especially when in the middle of the press conference, he's calling Kamala Harris Trump and Zelensky Putin. Already a disaster, already over.
So by all accounts, Joe Biden's big boy press conference actually went mediocre, which everyone's kind of saying that's kind of bad for Democrats because he barely passed the bar. That's going to give him enough credibility to remain as the candidate, which honestly, I hope he does, right? Cling to that power. But everyone sees that, yeah, right off the bat, he's messing up. He's fumbling his words. He's definitely lost a step. And as Cenk rightly points out, the aggregate of polls have Joe Biden down overall. His popularity is in the toilet. There is no way he can win in November, barring some shenanigans, of course. But yes, even the radical left sees this. And that, of course, includes Jon Stewart.
I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't know of a job interview that you could have gone on and delivered the performance that was delivered by Joe Biden and gotten a job. And I'm not talking about the presidency. I'm talking about like cashier at Home Depot, like a job that you would not think, okay, that is the hardest job in the entire world.
The only problem with that, John, and the only problem with framing it as such is the fact that you discount everything that he's accomplished in the first 3.5 years.
No, I don't. I don't at all.
But you do.
But he's not running for what he did 3.5 years. He's running for the next 4.
But nothing happens in a vacuum. And what we have to do is people just want to, my friends on the left, we want to only magnify what we saw at the debate, which is fine. I get it. We're talking about age, but I'm also talking about the accomplishments prior to and the threat that is right down the road. And I think, I mean, we do ourselves a disservice by saying our guy is old. We know that. He shuffles. We know that.
It's not old. It's not. Bakari, I think it is cognitive decline. it's not just age, it's cognitive decline. There are people
Or
who
at the
are
very least, it's an inability to communicate, right? Like I'm not a doctor, but like we need the candidate that we run for president needs to be able to communicate effectively. That's just the most basic. It's the most basic part of the job of being a candidate for president is you need to communicate effectively. And if you
or
can't do that
reassure us that here's how we operate in that environment. But to suggest that this discounts 3.5 years, it doesn't. But it does give you a window into the next 4. And if you look at his performance in 2020 versus his performance in 2024, there is inexorable decline.
Yes.
It's just, it's undeniable. So what I don't understand is, okay, fine, he stays, but deal with it head on. Stop pretending. Stop gaslighting.
First thing I want to say is the left are always touting the accomplishments of Joe Biden. What the heck has he accomplished? I mean, I guess if you want men in women's sports, you want disruption all around the world, you want wars and chaos, yeah, he's accomplished an awful lot. Higher gas prices, higher food prices, so I don't know what they're saying. He's done great the last 3 years. We don't want to discount any of that. But yes, Jon Stewart does rightly point out that essentially the Democrat Party is gaslighting. We've been talking about Joe Biden's decline on the right for years because it's easy to see. But of course, the left has always been like, oh, poo-poo, that's not happening, right? It's all in your own mind. And here it is on the forefront, and no one can deny it anymore. They have to acknowledge it straight on. And Jon Stewart, of course, is just saying, yeah, it's pretty bad. Stop trying to sell us that because the next 4 years, it's gonna get worse. And we gotta get rid of Joe Biden right now. Of course, many in the news media are also seeing the writing on the wall. Let's check this out from MSNBC.
And I think, you know, 2 things on the politics. There's no incumbent president with lower approval ratings who won. There are only 3 with lower approval ratings than he has right now, and they all lost. Donald Trump, George H.W. Bush, and Jimmy Carter. So some of the political information is what worries some folks in his inner circle. And there is right now no poll that shows him winning.
I think we can't say frequently enough as Democrats and people who want Donald Trump to be prevented from returning to the White House sort of anguish over this decision, which is that there is not perfect information about the future. And the argument that President Biden is best positioned to beat Donald Trump is an argument. There are other arguments that are also data-based that other people might have a better shot at it. I think that what Nicole points out about the reality about polling numbers for incumbent presidents and the real history of that versus what President Biden said, which was not actually factually accurate as far as I can tell. That's worrying because it makes me worry that the president is being given information about his political standing that may not be based in reality, that may be sunnier than is real. But I also think the president spoke from a factually grounded place throughout his entire remarks. And again, importantly, at the end, what did he say when he got that very sharp question? That's the very closing question from the entire presser when he was asked what he would need to hear to make him decide that the right thing to do for the country would be to leave. He did say in his answer to that, there are other Democrats who can beat Trump too.
Here's the talking heads of the left admitting that Joe Biden's numbers are not great and that no one has won re-election with approval ratings that low. And of course, Rachel Maddow has to pile on and say, I wonder if Joe Biden's staff is giving him accurate information. Are they giving him the true polling that is happening? Does he have a more rosy picture painted ahead of him about the upcoming election? Are they withholding the truth? Are they just giving Joe Biden an ice cream and saying, eat up, Joe, you're doing fine. Just get poop pants, man. So, of course, is that the reality that's facing Joe Biden right now? Is he being lied to? Because the polling aggregates are all showing that, yes, he is getting trounced in the 2020 election. But then it's also brought up that, oh, the Democrats have a lot of people that could beat Donald Trump. Not according to the polls, once again. Donald Trump is beating everyone. Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton, right? He beats all of them because everyone is sick and tired of the left. You've seen how they've lied to the country about Joe Biden's condition. You've seen the condition of the country overall since Joe Biden's been in office. And everyone's saying, hold on, put on the brakes. This is terrible. And of course, that is the reality we are facing. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and stay safe out there, people, because they're coming after you.